Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Pauline Caballero. She is the co-founder of Power Yoga Canada. How are you doing today, Pauline?
Really great, Brad. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here and take part in my movement or my collective that I'm trying to grow here. I appreciate you being here and taking the time to chat and share a bit about your story.
Yeah, of course. I can't wait.
All right, well, let's jump in. So you are the co-founder of Power Yoga Canada. How long ago did you come up with the idea or concept for Power Yoga Canada? And who is the other founder?
Yeah, so my partner in crime here with Power Yoga Canada, with PYC, as we call it for short, is a girl by the name of Kinley McCullum. And actually, Kinley, she was my yoga teacher over a decade ago. And so that's sort of how Power Yoga Canada was set to sort of be born. Kinley was a very strong, hot power yoga teacher here in the Greater Toronto area. And I stumbled upon our classes and fell in love with the practice, and sort of the rest is history.
Wow. Okay. What sparked the idea or inspiration for the business? Like, why did you guys decide to go into business and form this company?
Yeah, so Power Yoga Canada sort of started with the idea of how can we bring communities together. So the medium is hot power yoga, but the message is really about empowering communities into action. And that's sort of where the whole idea manifested from. But I mean, really, we were both just looking for a really cool place where we could practice hot power yoga, because that wasn't necessarily the practice over a decade ago in Canada.
Okay. Now, you said she was your teacher. Did you guys click right away?
No, it's so funny, when we went to go open up our business, I actually didn't even know her last name. I had to
Really?
Yeah. So, it really was just a matter of two souls that kind of were brought together. My business brain definitely didn't understand what my heart wanted to do. And so, we didn't really know each other. And it was just one of those things that we went with the flow, and it ended up working out. But it definitely is not the traditional way in which one would open up a business.
Yeah. But how did the conversation start? Like, who initiated the conversation, or who brought up the idea, hey, we should go into business together?
Yeah. So I ended up doing a teacher training program and didn't really understand, what the training program was about, and then ended up doing it again. And after I'd done the second level, Kinley's like, oh, well, I really want to open up my own yoga studio. Would you be interested? And at the time, it was myself and another girl. And the dynamic just didn't quite work for me.
Yeah.
And then Kinley came back and said, oh, okay, well, I still would like to do it with you. How about if I own, this is Kinley speaking, I own 20% and you, or I own 75% Pauline, and Pauline, you own 25%. I'm like, my business brain is like, no, I'm not really interested. Good luck.
Yeah.
And so then she came back and decided that, she really wanted a partnership. And, my background and my expertise really is in corporate America, corporate, businesses, and really understanding the development of that and scaling businesses. So she came back and said, hey, let's do it 50-50. I was like, okay. And we ended up opening up our very first location. Very hard to find. When you would call, the joke would be like, if you drove over the train tracks, you've gone too far, because there was no signage. We were on the third floor. Everyone loved the cool ambiance. We had curtains to separate out a room.
Yeah.
And everyone loved that ambiance, but we actually didn't do that on purpose. We just ran out of money instead of building walls. So that's sort of how we came to be.
Okay. Just kind of happenstance.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, today, how many locations of PYC are there?
So there are 13 locations, and we have another 2 opening up.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's grown.
That's incredible growth. I mean, did you ever think when you first got into business with Kinley that did you see that growth? Is that the growth you wanted? Is this the direction you wanted to take, is to grow it to X amount of locations?
Yeah, it's interesting. Not at first, I'll say, although we did set it up with the infrastructure that it could scale.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were just more interested in making a difference in people's lives. And, really, we continue to do that. And I'll say the only reason why we're interested in opening up other locations is to allow our studio owners to be entrepreneurs.
Right.
And again, about empowering them into action. So it wasn't necessarily a fully planned out, plan, but I think it was something that was really just driven around really empowerment, and that's why it's been allowed to sort of grow and gain some momentum here.
That's amazing. Congratulations on the upcoming opening of 2 more locations. It's incredible. You should be very proud of what you've managed to accomplish with this.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, it's definitely been a we project. There's 100% no we, or no me, pardon me, in the whole development of the whole Power Yoga Canada organization. It's really been about, the practitioners, the teachers, people who do energy exchange for us. It's become quite a movement, and it's far beyond my business partner and I.
Right. But I mean, the vision started with you and Kinley.
For sure.
That's amazing to see. It must be an incredible feeling. I guess you could equate it to having children, seeing the business grow like that and expand. And I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, actually. Just really looking at it as the baby growing, and then now, being able to make its own decisions.
Yeah, for sure. So what are the differences between hot power yoga and regular yoga for those that don't know, like myself?
Yeah. So hot power yoga, what we like to do is we turn up the heat. We use heating panels to warm up the temperature of the room. So generally we're operating anywhere between 90 and 100.
Okay.
And the power is really of the vinyasa. So vinyasa meaning flow.
Okay.
Whereas traditional yoga may be more static moves, there's much more movement here.
Okay. All right. And that's like the main difference. The main difference is.
Absolutely. And the fact that you'll sweat in places you don't even know you have.
Awesome. Now, you have an extensive career in the wellness and yoga fields. How long have you been working in the industry, in the health and wellness and yoga? And
yeah, I mean, I've been here for, I'll say, well over a decade, but where I really got fascinated with the body and with movement and with well-being is really, I'll say, as a teenager, I was a competitive figure skater, skating for it was called synchronized skating or precision skating back then with Team Canada, where I was really passionate about, understanding how to fuel my body in different ways in which to do that, and also different ways to handle mental health and stress, and really optimizing, brain power and brain functionality and focus. And so, I'll say traditionally working in the industry for well over a decade, closer to 15 years, but really playing in it for, most of my life, really.
Yeah. It's just become part of you.
Totally. And it's become a way in which I also raise my family, raise my children. Like I became a registered holistic nutritionist when I was pregnant with my first son at 24. And I did so. I mean, I have my RHN designation. I did all that certification and all of that schooling, really from the aspect of I just wanted to learn what was best for him. I was bringing this new baby into the world, and I really wanted to understand, all the different topics around vaccinations, around, organic versus non-organic breastfeeding.
Yeah.
All the whole gamut of it all, and then really, what are some allopathic, items that you can care for your toddler, for your newborn. So been a passion of mine for sure for a long time.
So it basically comes from a very personal place for you.
For me, absolutely. Like I have my family struggles with mental illness, and that's something that I was not going to take lightly. So I really wanted to understand, other than traditional medicine, what resources could I have, and so I took to educating myself.
That's amazing because I think anyways, and I'm sure you'll agree that mental illness is such a prevalent issue in society, but it's still, to me anyways, gets swept under the rug like it's a dirty secret. And I think it's horrible. I think that the more we talk about it, the more it gets put out there to the public and the public is aware of it, the better off everybody else will be, whether you're afflicted affected by it, or know someone who is it all around. It can do no harm. It can only do good if we all talk about it and know about it.
Well, exactly. And that's really, I'll say one of the reasons why I was so passionate about Empowering Canada too is the ability to provide people with support from a mental well-being perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't necessarily realize that when they join us at Empowering Canada, they come for the physical exercise.
Right.
But what keeps them there is something, I'll say, that's more ontological, like the study of being, which is they leave feeling a different way.
Yeah.
And it's not just with their body.
Yeah, it's pretty shameful that it's still swept under the rug and looked at as a terrible stigma. It's just horrible to me. I can't believe that in 2020, with how prevalent it is in society today, that it's still looked upon that way.
Yeah, it is, and it really is through conversations like this, Brad, where we start to bring forth that and destigmatizing that, the shame around mental health, and making it a priority.
Absolutely. Yeah, there needs to be a hell of a lot more work centered around mental health and bringing it to the forefront and really making people aware.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So what excites and inspires you most about working in the wellness and yoga realm fields?
That's a really good question. What excites me the most is the possibility.
Okay.
And by that, what I mean is you really get to see the opportunity and the possibility for people throughout their wellness journey. Like, I'll give my example actually with just my husband.
Mm-hmm.
We opened up the yoga studios, and he, is a plumber by trade and also general contractor. So he was able to support us in the building out of the yoga studios.
Right.
But never really quite got the concept of what is it that we're actually delivering.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact was, quite resentful of the amount of time that the yoga studio was taking from me and my family earlier on when we first opened up the business.
Right.
But what's been really beautiful to see, we're here, oh my gosh, almost 12 years later. And, my husband has done his teacher training program and then fell out of love with yoga, but he's recently been re-inspired where, we actually had a tragic death happen within our family. And
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And though the yoga is the thing that's healing my husband and his friend who, his friend is the one that lost his son.
Mm-hmm.
But so what I'm most inspired about is that, yoga is not just a one-time phenomenon. It's really a lifetime practice. And the way I've witnessed the journey of the ebbs and flows of the practice and well-being within my personal family and within my personal life really inspires me to continue on and to forge forward. So, as students come into our studios and then they leave and life takes them, on a different path, we generally see people trickling back in and, really wanting to hit their mat as a form of release, as a form of, reconnection, also as a coming home. So, I'll say for me, I'm quite inspired by the lifetime commitment of a practice, distinct from just like a one-time phenomenon.
Yeah, it's got to be an incredible feeling to see that something you and your partner, and of course everyone else involved in PYC, what you've built, and how much it gives back to the community and gives back to people and changes their life altering, really. Mm-hmm. It's got to be an incredible feeling knowing that you had a hand in doing that.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's also an incredible responsibility and accountability.
Yeah.
To ensure that, we stay true to the practice, that we understand that, we're simply accountable for creating the environment, but it's up to all the individuals to do their own, inside work. And
yes, for sure.
And it's always an inside job.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing is coming to that realization and then doing the work, putting in the work, because it does take a hell of a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, you've also done some extensive traveling abroad to bring awareness and support the growth of power yoga worldwide. Can you tell us a bit about that, as well as the Africa Yoga Project, of which you were a board member of?
Oh, for sure. So Africa Yoga Project is an amazing organization, and the entire mission is about utilizing the practices of yoga to actually create an industry, and then also to create employment and stability for marginalized populations in informal settlements. And more specifically, it's actually about training the youth.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I've been very fortunate to be able to do is to actually take my family with me on what we call Seva trips. And
Okay.
Seva, and they're actually called Seva Safaris is the branding, but Seva means service.
Okay.
Be of service, and then Safari, of course, is to be an adventure.
Yeah.
And so what we've been able to do is work with Africa Yoga Project and bring people from all over the world to participate in a community project. So whether it's building a community center in Kingemi, in one of the informal settlements in Nairobi, in Kenya specifically, and then, or whether it's been, heading up to an orphanage and, planting a garden or building a latrine or, providing construction to one of their local schools. But what we've been able to do is really use the practice of yoga as sort of the common language of which we all participate.
Right.
And then, it's really provided such a beautiful opportunity, not only for myself, but for my family, and then for other individuals to share the common language of practice of yoga, and then still be able to contribute to a local charity such as Africa Yoga Project.
Mm-hmm. That's what an incredible thing. You are a truly inspirational, incredible woman with all that you've done with PYC and this, and it's just, wow. I'm in awe. I think it's incredible.
Well, it's definitely been a team effort, that's for sure.
Yeah, but for you to even just get involved in that, I mean, yes, of course, these are team efforts 100%, but for you to get involved in it and want to take this on and make it part of your mission, part of your life, and bring your family along and get them involved, I think it's absolutely incredible and so admirable and so incredibly inspirational.
Well, I appreciate that. I think one of the things that I decided a while ago is that I was going to live my core belief, and one of my core beliefs is really very much aligned to Power Yoga Canada, which I shared was empowering communities into action. But more so for me, it's creating and empowering leaders. And what I recognized when we opened up the yoga studio is that I have to start with my house. I have to start with the people closest to me.
Right.
And I think Mother Teresa said it best: if you want to go and change the world, go home and love your family.
Yeah.
And so it's really something that kind of struck with me. And in all of these adventures, I'll say, how do I incorporate my community, my local community, and that being, the people that I live with, which sometimes I have found that it's very easy to take advantage of, the people I live with, and to lean on my husband probably more than I needed to, versus incorporating him into what I'm up to. And then I started noticing that I was doing that with my children. I wasn't actually sharing the gifts that I was given in the world with them. And I just didn't want to be that person anymore. So, we did a complete 360, and it's really about creating that opportunity for my community.
Amazing. I love it. Now, as you mentioned, you're also an RHN registered holistic nutritionist and a certified 500-hour Yoga Alliance ERYT. For those of us who don't know, can you tell us what a Yoga Alliance ERYT is?
Sure. I mean, the long and short of it means that I can teach yoga teacher training programs. The governing body is Yoga Alliance.
Okay.
But so I am certified in holistic nutrition, able to, facilitate yoga teacher trainings. And then also I am an international coach, an ICF certified coach, which is the International Coaching Federation. So really, I'm quite passionate about the study of the whole body, including what you put in your mouth, including how you move your body. And then also, what's the internal dialogue you have with yourself from an ontology perspective.
Right. Amazing. How does you being a holistic nutritionist align and play into PYC, or does it?
Yeah, that's such a good question. In the early days, we were talking about doing more nutrition programming. We do some we have a 30-day to level up program. But really, Brad, it's just been something I've been so passionate about. Like, I'm so curious. What do we fill our minds with? What do we put in our bodies? And so for me, it really was my responsibility of being a mom. And that's really what kind of drove me to that originally. Right. And I've been able to utilize it for myself, right? And like how I feed my kids, how I feed myself. And it does give me that background to get a little bit more curious. But for Power Yoga Canada, I haven't necessarily utilized it probably to its fullest capability, but I probably should look at that.
There you go. Something to put on the to-do list. Now, you co-authored a book, Fitness to Freedom, a collection of health, wellness, and fitness stories focused on women. How did that whole thing come about for you? And what was the process like for you co-authoring a book?
Oh, yeah. Actually, that one came about so randomly. A friend of mine, Joanne Walker, said she was, writing a chapter in a book, and it's about fitness, and Pauline, you really should be a part of it. So it sort of just happened like that, because Joanne had also known that one of my BHAGs, one of my big, hairy, audacious goals was to author a book, to actually produce a book. And so it was an awesome process, because it was just a great opportunity to understand a little bit more about book publishing. Okay. And then also not have to bite off more than I could chew, so to speak, where I had the opportunity to be in collaboration with some beautiful women who shared the same passion as me, which was movement. They're all passionate about movement.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the book?
Yeah, so Fitness to Freedom is a collaboration from, I think it's about 12 authors. And what it is everyone's fitness journey. So for me, what I wrote about was really about my fitness journey with yoga, and how the practice of yoga really did change my life and change the ability in which I was able to create possibility in my life. And each chapter is unique because it's each individual author's journey in how they found freedom in their own life through the access of fitness. So whether it's through yoga or through weight training or through walking or through running, it's really their interpretation, which allows other readers to find different aspects of how fitness could be incorporated in their lives.
Sounds awesome. Now, speaking of books, you have just recently released your full-on own book, your first book, authored solely by you, called Pivot: 5 Practices to Strategize and Support You Through Change. Can you tell us a bit about that book and give us a brief overview of it, as well as what it was like for you as a writer writing your book for yourself, your own book? What was that experience like as opposed to co-authoring a book?
Yeah, so I mean, so Pivot has actually been a journey. It's been 10 years in the making, but really came into fruition back in 2017, where I had the title Pivot: Changes and Coming It's Here. And when COVID hit back in March, it was always something that was on the docket to be released, but it really seemed much more prevalent and relevant. Yeah. So the journey has been tough. It's been one that I've sort of been, waking up at 3:00 in the morning to get this book complete. And what this book is about is really a combination of practices of choosing change and how to go about that. So one of the things that I found in my life is I was finding myself, in very difficult situations where I'm questioning, how the heck did I get here, and how do I move? Right. How do I change? Distinct from change happening to me, how do I choose it and thrive inside of it? And so that's really where these practices come from. It's been practices that we've utilized in running Power Yoga Canada, practices that I've utilized in my careers, and practices that I've utilized even with Africa Yoga Project. It's, really looking at the perspective of which you're seeing things, using your intuition, those gentle whispers from your heart that we tend not to listen to.
Yeah.
Really understanding your vision and having the ability to communicate it to others, understanding obstacles and having a different perspective of obstacles. Obstacles are not only challenges to overcome, but they also are part of your journey.
Yeah.
And
Well, they make us who we are, right?
100%. And the last part of the book really talks about the tactics and what are the specific tactics that you need to be putting into place in order to thrive through change.
Awesome. Now, what was the experience like for you, though, as opposed to co-authoring or writing one chapter in a book, as opposed to sitting down and like fully, this is yours, this is your baby. And again, using that baby analogy, putting it all down and watching it grow and change over time as you wrote it, and then grow to finally have it published. And here's you've birthed your book, your baby, so to speak.
Yeah, it was exhausting. It was exhausting. It was vulnerable. I just had all the feels for me personally. It's, like I said, it was a BHAG of mine. It was a big, hairy, audacious goal. And it was really like that. It was really like bringing something to life.
Yeah.
And just the level of accountability, right? I can't say, oh, if you don't like that chapter, don't worry. Like,
right.
No, I wrote it all.
Yeah.
If you don't like that chapter, it's on me. And, even with the book being out now, I see areas in which I'd want to improve and things that I could have done differently. And, I really found that this exercise of being a published author has identified in me that, I really am self-critical and in that I have some work to do in accepting things and not having to be so perfect.
Yeah. Did you really struggle with the vulnerability part of that when you're writing?
Yeah, I struggled with it more when the book came out and, certain people were like, oh, I'm going to read your book. And I was like, oh God, what did I write about them? Yeah, that's been my biggest struggle is like, I felt like when I was writing, it was easy to be vulnerable, but then the fact of people reading it now and saying that they can relate to it, I was like, oh, what can they relate to? Like, I find a lot of discomfort there that I'm working through right now.
When did the book come out?
So the book came out September 17th on Amazon, Indigo, Barnes & Noble, Target.
Awesome. Oh, so very, very new. That's amazing. Well, congratulations on your first solely authored book. I think that's it. Anyone who sits down and write about, in my books anyway, I think that's an incredible accomplishment in life. And for you having it as one of your big, audacious, hairy goals, I mean, that's just incredible that you can cross that off the list and say that you've done it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel quite lucky to have been able to do so.
For sure. Do you have plans to write another one?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah.
I have some ideas from a relationship perspective, but I'm not sure. I think I'm going to have to, I think there's a lot of work for us to do with the Pivot book. We've evolved it to a Pivot accountability coaching program.
Okay.
Where we're looking at how do we create the practice of being accountable through the acts of speaking, listening, and creating habits. Mm-hmm. So there's still some work here for Pivot to sort of, evolve and develop. And I think once that's, fully set and aligned, then perhaps, another book would be.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, congratulations. I think it's an amazing accomplishment. So you should be very proud of yourself for being able to cross that off your list, to having had it on a goal list for yourself and actually doing it, because so many people have all these goals for themselves and life happens and gets in the way, or they let life happen and get in the way. Because I mean, let's be honest, we are our own worst enemies. We have to learn to step outside of our own heads and get out of our own fucking way every so often, because we're terrible to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. In my book, I talk about we're free to choose, but we're not free to choose. But we are not free from the consequences of our choice.
Right.
So
Very wise. I like that.
Yeah, we live like, I can choose whatever I want, but then we don't take accountability for our actions and our inactions, which include not following our dreams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we only have one life to live, so why wouldn't you live out your dreams and take the steps that you need to make it happen? You're only here for a short time, so why not be happy while you're here and do the things that light you up and do the things that make you happy? Now, I know, of course, there's always going to be obstacles that get in the way of you doing that, but that's where perseverance and finding a way to make yourself happy and finding a way to make these things happen, you have to do it if that's something you really want to do. I don't know. I just don't see any point to being miserable your whole life, in terms of going to a job you hate and hating getting up to go to work in the morning and being miserable at work and coming home frustrated and angry. I mean, I was victim of that before I decided to take the jump into entrepreneurship and doing what makes me happy. But it's just finding the strength and the courage to tune out the noise and get out of your own way and do it.
Totally. And I think that's really the opportunity here with our accountability coaching program. It's people need to be held accountable.
Yeah, for sure. Whether that's, get a personal accountability coach, get a personal accountability friend. Someone just to hold you accountable if that's what you need.
Exactly.
Life's too short.
It really is. And there's so much great things to do. There's so much great work to be done.
Absolutely. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become so successful?
I'm best in the world at identifying leaders and developing them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been my superpower. It's something that I do behind the scenes, and and really, with this coaching program launch, it's really starting to become my platform in which I support people in growing themselves and their careers. But I definitely am very good at identifying and developing leaders.
Awesome. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
For me, my best self is really just being thoroughly used up every day. And, following my own health regimes and being in participation of life and fully present. But for me, I've really gotten clear on, it sounds so cliche, but enjoying the simplicity of life. And I think it might be some of the challenges that we've had this past summer and 2020, but it's really opened up my eyes to that.
Yeah. I think as terrible as this thing has been, this pandemic and all the unfortunate death we've had and everything else that goes along with that, there is a silver lining in that cloud that hopefully people will have taken advantage of and used this time to realize and take stock of their own lives and realize that, all that shit that you were worried about before and having the best of this and having that and these materialistic things and all the focus on money and just the hustle and bustle and not taking the time to slow down in life and enjoy the small things in life, like family and going for a walk and just simplistic little things. I really hope that whenever the hell we come out the other side of this pandemic, that people will still put into practice those things that they've learned over this past 6 months and not just revert right back to the old ways and get caught up in all that shit again and just forget about everything that you've just learned.
Right. But that's going to take a commitment from all of us, right?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Absolutely. I just hope that, I guess it's just like you have to be, again, this goes back to personal accountability. You have to be accountable for you and you take stock and you keep those practices in place. And hopefully that causes a ripple effect to the people you surround yourself with, your family, your friends, and it just trickles down to everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
You know, when I was starting my corporate career, I was working for a company, for FedEx, actually, a large corporation. And the vice president, or maybe it was the president at the time, he gave me a book, and his name is Dave Bronzak. He gave me the book called Inside the Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, he said, Pauline, just read this book and you will be fine here with your career. I ended up having a very long career with FedEx, but I learned some valuable lessons that I brought forward to Pauline Canada. In fact, I bring forward every day in my life. And Inside the Magic Kingdom talks about creating an unbelievable guest experience.
Uh-huh.
And part of my commitment with the team at Pauline Canada is that we call it the Sunday dinner guest experience, or red carpet guest experience. Meaning we own your experience from the moment you open your car door, or these days, the moment you log onto our app and sign up for your class. But that is probably the best piece of advice I've ever received in my life, really, because my commitment even today is to leave people better than I found them.
Yeah.
Leave situations and areas better than I found them. And that simple practice, it seems so silly, but it's so easy and hard to do all at the same time.
Yeah. It is. It sounds very simple, and it really is simple, but it's hard to put into practice for sure. 100%. That's, amazing. I love it though. What was a turning point in your life, and how did it affect you?
A turning point in my life. I mean, I actually write about it in the Pivot book.
Okay.
So my husband and I were getting married in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
My younger brother has schizophrenia, actually.
Okay.
But we didn't know it at the time. And he became quite ill the day before. And he ended up actually having a mental break and had to be flown back to Canada.
Wow.
And so, the turning point right there was I had to make a decision to either continue on and marrying this man without my family by my side, or to cancel the wedding and, go back to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what would have happened after that.
Yeah.
But I did listen to my intuition, which was to follow my pursuit of marrying Gerard. And that really is a pivotal point and, really a turning point in my life, because I could have gone one way or the other and allowed my family story to continue to run me. But I chose to be in creation of a new chapter, and went through with the wedding the next day, even though I didn't have my father, my mom, my brother. I had no family by my side.
Yeah, that's takes a lot of strength to stand up and say, you know what? No, I'm not, as you said, letting that run me. It's time to change the narrative and do for me, and start this new chapter in my life. I applaud you for that. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, it took something, that's for sure, at 24.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. How do you define success? What does that word mean to you, Pauline?
Oh, success for me really is the collective, how am I doing? How am I being, in my mind, in my body, and in my relationships. For me, success doesn't look like a straight P&L. By that I mean like a profit or loss statement.
Yeah.
Money or the titles. If I'm successful, you'll know that through the eyes of my children.
Right. I love it. What would you say was one of the most important things you've learned in your life up to this point? And what was your life like before learning it? And what's your life been like after learning it?
Oh, it sounds, again, cliche, but really, I learned how to be for someone other than myself. And that is specifically through the birth of my boys. Because at this point in time, it really is about the legacy of my children.
Yeah.
And so before that, I was quite selfish. I would be complaining, I have so much to do. And now post kids, it's like I still have lots to do, but you've got to make it all work. And it's really the priority becomes these individuals, these human beings. versus the priority being myself.
Okay. What is one of your favorite quotes, would you say?
Maybe I would say my favorite quote would be, never doubt what a small group of committed citizens can do to change the world, because in fact it's the only thing that ever has. And that's by Margaret Mead.
I love it. I love that. I've never heard that quote before, but I love it. It reminds me of "It takes a village to raise kids, raise a child."
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment, for me, really means about supporting others to fulfill on their heart's desires.
What do you do to teach your boys about empowerment? Or what did you do? Because how old are your boys now?
I have a 7-year-old now and 15-year-old.
Okay. So what do you do to teach your boys about empowerment?
What I do is I teach about being for others, and also the commitment of leaving people better than you found them in parks and situations and classrooms. And yeah, I teach them about empowerment is through our actions and our inactions, what we say and what we don't say, but really about how we be.
Yeah. And I'm sure leading by example, and what an incredibly inspiring woman you are, also teaches them with you just being you and doing what you do.
Well, and they teach me, last night my 15-year-old says to me, "Mom, you didn't work out today. Why don't we go work out?" I made a workout for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that was him. That was his action of, empowering myself by recognizing that, I was down, I needed to move, and it really helps my mental health.
Yeah.
And him just being willing to participate with me. So yeah,
that's awesome. Who would you say have been the 3 most influential people in your life?
I would say all the boys in my life. My husband Gerard, who he knows more about ontology than I ever could, just in his sheer way of being and who he is. And then my son Noah, who has been a complete inspiration and really been here on our journey, even through the development of Pauline Canada. He, we started the business when he was like 4 years old, and he's slept in every single yoga studio and has done more yoga trainings than anyone I know. And then my little guy Jacob, who really has this unique voice, and calling things out like they are in such a kind way, being willing to move the conversation forward. So, and even with COVID, I know COVID looked different for many people, but with my family, it really drew us in closer together, and really understanding what the value is when a family unit comes together. So I would say, yeah, my boys.
What do you feel most grateful for in your life?
I feel really grateful for that chance encounter of Kinley and I coming together for Power Yoga Canada, and being willing to sort of, roll the dice.
Yeah, that's quite the journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's been really cool.
How would you like to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered as someone who raised a really beautiful family that's making a difference in the world.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Joy.
Okay. What makes you smile?
What makes me smile? Well, my husband with his crazy jokes.
Pretty simple and straightforward. What do you like to do when you aren't working?
Oh, so I am a boutique fitness junkie. I love Pilates. I love yoga. I love running. I love walking. I just love all kinds of exercise.
Money or fame?
Money.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
What was your dream job as a child?
To be a competitive figure skater in the Olympics.
If you could sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with anyone in the world, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Mother Teresa. I really want to hear more about all of the charity work that she's done and what drove her to do it.
if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
It's all going to be okay. Just keep moving.
Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what do you think that last 30 seconds would sound like?
It would sound like this: change isn't coming, it's here. Don't fight it and just thrive through it.
Awesome. I love that. Pauline, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat and share your insights and your story and a bit of your journey and just participate in this movement that I'm creating and just be here today and share. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here and talk to me and share your story.
Oh, it's so lovely. Thank you so much for having me, Brad.
You are truly an inspiration, Pauline. Incredible, incredible woman.
Oh, thanks, Brad.
Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of the Empowerography Podcast. My guest today has been Pauline Caballero. She is the co-founder of Power Yoga Canada. Thanks, Pauline. Have an amazing afternoon.
You as well.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.